So, Thinking Man's Thursday. Guys, go wash your balls. No, seriously. Go wash your nuts. They stink. You know how I know this? Because I own a pair. And they fucking reek on a regular basis. Look. I just got out of the shower. Clearly I've cleaned up a little bit. Trimmed the mustache more than anything. Got tired of chewing on it with my soup. But a little bit of schmutz. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, hygiene. You know, just the basic stuff. Get washed at least once every couple of days. And I mean, the Europeans have a different attitude than the Americans. I tend to follow the more European approach. I don't shower every single day. I find it dries my skin terribly. And I do use good soaps. I'm even considering looking into that Dr. Squatch stuff, just in case. It's actually better for my skin. But yeah, you know, moisturizing, all that kind of stuff, that's superfluous. At the very least, you need to subject yourself to soap and water on a fairly regular basis. Even if all you're doing is washing your face, your pits, and your balls every day. Because those are the three areas that present you to the world. You don't have to even necessarily perfume yourself. I will put on cologne fairly often. I like to avoid pit stick because of the aluminums in it and the potential Alzheimer's connection to that. And I find that I don't stink unless I'm sweating a lot for a couple of days at least. Now, tomorrow the weather's supposed to be good. Sorry, I'm recording this on Tuesday. But tomorrow, Wednesday, the weather is supposed to be good, so I will probably be working in the shed most of the day. And probably work myself into a fairly decent lather doing it. That means that when I realize I'm sweaty, I go and I get clean. Now, if I spent the next 2 days sitting around playing video games, because I avoid sitting in a posture that gives me swamp ass, then I probably won't necessarily do too much in the way of hygiene. I'll probably wash my face and take a quick swipe at my arms, at my pits, and my balls. Always, always clean your balls, guys. You never know when somebody might want to get close to them. But honestly, hygiene is one of the most important things you can do for yourself. And even if you don't want to do it for you, do it for other people. My God, no one likes it when you're on a bus and someone reaches up for that fucking rail and all you get is a fucking hum of body odor. Or, you know, when you reach to shake someone's hand and your arm extends just enough that your armpit opens and there's a funk that comes off you. Right? If you're someone who experiences body odor on a regular basis, do not try to cover it up with stink. Don't add to your stink. Try to get rid of your stink. And yes, this is somewhat crass and somewhat off the cuff, but it's been pointed out repeatedly to every guy on the planet, you stink. And guys tend to be a little lackluster when it comes to getting cleaned up. And yeah, there's loads of stuff that'll purport to prevent you from stinking for 48 to 39 hours now, or whatever. Sure, you can put on a 48-hour deodorant right out of the shower. That doesn't mean that you won't stink in 24. That doesn't mean you won't stink in 2. You have to monitor what you're doing. If you're getting sweaty, you need to get that stuff rinsed off. Not just because it smells, but because it's a feast for bacteria. It's one of the ways you end up keeping yourself from getting sick, by being clean. And it can be an issue for your partner as well. Like, I've had partners who didn't mind a little funk. You know, a little bit of a hard day's labor worth of sweat. But not 2 days after. You don't sit in your own filth. if you suspect you might be dirty, there's a joke that goes like this. I have a shower once a week whether I need it or not. Well, the joke is that everybody needs a shower more than once a week. And yeah, you can take off your sweaty clothes, douse yourself with pretty smell, and slap 2 coats of deodorant in your armpits, but you still smell. Your body is still coated in bacteria and old sweat. You need to get that off. The only way to do that is to run water and soap over your body. Some sort of detergent. Don't use laundry detergent. That's bad for you. You should have learned that from the Tide Pods there. And, you know, if you're the type of person who really hates bathing or getting in a shower, I understand. It's tedious sometimes, but it's necessary. And it's doing the necessary things that makes us better people. And, I mean, if you want to go the religious route, you can go with the old standard of cleanliness is next to godliness, by all means. But my personal take is more of the, how to put it, not social contract exactly, but there is a certain expectation, especially in Western cultures, that you don't abuse other people's nostrils with your stink. And ladies, for the love of God, lay off the heavy perfumes when you're on your way to the store. Guys have been told for generations not to douse themselves with aftershave or cologne. You know, a little spritz goes a long way. Ladies, the same is true for you. And I say this to the ladies, not because I think they're not clean, but because I think a lot of them get very nose blind. Guys have a stronger sense of smell than you do. So, if you're covering yourself in what you think is the most beautiful perfume you've ever smelled, that's great. The problem is, you get next to a guy like me, and I go, oh my God, and my nostrils close up, my eyes start to burn, and I immediately head in a different direction for fresh air. Not because you smell bad, it's just because you smell too much. It's too strong, it's too much. That's why you're seeing all these signs in a lot of places, scent-free, or whatever. I mean, I've walked into those places with just out of the shower, fresh aftershave on, never had an issue. Because I know to use it in extreme moderation. Guys, take the Old Spice bottle. You know how there's a little hole with a little plunger? You have 2 choices there. You can take the plunger out. You can take the bottle with the plunger in, invert it, pull the plunger out, dab a little bit on your finger, your thumb, whatever, go like that. You're good. I know you don't think you are, but you are. But if you're doing the Sam Malone thing where you shoot a stream of cologne into the air, catch it, rub your hands in it, your hands are dripping wet, and then you put it on, that's too much. You've overdone it. The really strong soaps or cleansers, like Axe, lay off that shit too, guys. Seriously, it's just perfume and detergent. It's bad for your skin, and it's absolutely horrible for the stink of those around you. For the scent, the olfactory centers of the people around you. I'm not saying don't find something you like the smell of, by all means. But look for something a little more subtle than, hey, by the way, I'm standing right here and I reek pretty. Don't go for that. Don't go for that shit. Okay? Find something with a subtle scent that you like. My go-to is dead animal and burnt wood. It's musk and forest scents. Hell, I tend to smell like tobacco and chocolate and coffee. Don't know why. But you had to be aware, too, that coffee breath is a fucking brutal thing. And cigarette breath is not great, either. Keep a container of mints around. Do what I do. Occasionally I'll chew a piece of cinnamon stick. Which reminds me, I had to pick up some cinnamon sticks. And yes, for the record, chewing stick cinnamon, it's an acquired taste, and you have to be aware that that's a tiny piece of wood you've tucked in your cheek. So yeah, you need to wait until that gets really, really soft to the point that you can chew it into a mush and then swallow it, or you spit it out. The last thing you want is a splinter in your tongue, or your cheek, or your gums. What else? If your breath is really, really funky, there's two possibilities there. You may have a bad tooth, or you may have some sort of gastrointestinal issue, both of which need to be addressed ASAP. Because if it's a bad tooth, that's going to affect the rest of your health. But yeah, hygiene, basic hygiene, it's very simple. Wash your body with hot water and soap, some sort of cleanser. If you're in extremis, I suppose you could get away with using shampoo on a cloth and rubbing your body with that. Shampoo tends to have a lot of strong scents, and if you're using that on your whole body, it's probably not great for you. It's not a bad idea to use shampoo on your mustache, beard, even in your pits if you're a little over hairy. Speaking of over hairy, I know I started to mention products like Manscaping and what's that other Dr. Squatch that I mentioned. You don't need to reek, and you don't need to necessarily. One thing you do need to remember is rinse thoroughly. When it comes to body hair, if you're someone like me who doesn't have a hell of a lot of body hair, just keep it trimmed. Keep it neat, tidy. If you're someone who, when you take your shirt off, you look like you're wearing a sweater, you probably need to do a little bit of extra work. And if you're someone in between, you know, trust your partner to tell you what they like. That's actually generally a good idea. Let your partner kind of guide your choices when it comes to hygiene as well. But the baseline stuff that every man should be doing, and women too, and women are generally far better about this, but the baseline things that men should be doing is keeping their bodies clean on a regular basis. And by regular, I don't mean once a week, whether you need it or not. I mean every couple of days at least, you should be in the shower. 2 to 3 is probably okay. If you're working in an office job, now, actually, I'll relate this to my personal experiences. I've worked office jobs. When I work an office job, I get up in the morning and I shower before I go to work. If I'm working something that requires manual labor, where I know I'm going to be sweating all day, there's absolutely no point in me showering before I do that. I will shower at the end of the day, so I'd get into a bed that's clean. If you're working really, really hard manual work, you should absolutely try to at least rinse off before you flop into the bed. And don't forget you have to do laundry. Now with your laundry, you can go absolutely hog wild with scents. Nobody really cares. Because once it passes through the dryer, and it should pass through a dryer or be put on a clothesline, once it's been exposed to the air or to the heat, then that scent is going to be at least moderated somewhat, ameliorated a bit. But don't just think you can use cover. Think about it this way. If you, and I do apologize for being a little bit gross here, if you take a nasty shit and it reeks to high heaven in the bathroom when you stand up from the toilet, before you open the door, the smart thing to do is take a can of air freshener, some sort of spray, give that a spritz, and if that's all you can do, that's all you can do. If you have an exhaust fan, flick that thing on and, you know, leave the room. Don't close the door. This is a key thing. If you take a nasty poop, do not close the door unless the fan is going. And really, you shouldn't even close the door then. You can leave it cracked a little bit so that the air flows through a little faster. gets that funk out sooner. But if you've ever walked into the room because maybe you had to take a piss real bad or whatever, and you needed the bathroom immediately after someone had taken a nasty shit, even if they had used a lot of air freshener, you're still smelling the shit, and you know you're smelling it. You can have all the hydrangea and vanilla and all kinds floating in the air with it, but you're still smelling flowers dipped in manure, essentially. And it's the same thing with your body odor. You can cover yourself in Jovan Musk or Actif Blue or whatever particular scent you like. Me, I'm a Drakkar Noir guy. One spritz will go a long way. But if your body is smelly and then you add scent to it, you're not covering shit. All you're doing is going, hey, pay attention. Take in that nice whiff of cologne and have all that crap smell with it. Yeah. BO and cologne don't go well together. The thing that smells the best on any person is clean. If you smell clean, you're already way ahead of the game. So just get clean. And that's really it. So, you know, have a good day. Keep having good days. And rise to rise again till lambs become lions. Bye-bye.